Hello, 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 Facebook. This is David Jose. I am coming to you live. I really don't want to share the video with a lot of people just because it may destroy my ability to keep the video going. You know that I've been uh, censored a whole lot lately. But I want to give a little bit of time for people to come on so we can have this discussion. I want to be able to get to the truth and I want to be able to see what's happening because, okay, let's see. I want to be able to get to the truth and understand some things that are going on. And, I have to ask these questions to make things clear. And I just want to see what the deal is. So I am inviting some people on. I'm going to try to get Fran on. Hey, Linda. Hey, Holly. What's up, Leonard? Hey, Francesca's on. Okay. Hey, Michael. So I need you guys to share this because I have some questions. And with anything that we do, we have to make sure that, we make sure the truth is out there. We got to try to move and rock and roll and get things cleared up as quickly as possible if there are some issues so that we can make sure that we're on the same page in the movement. So there's some things that people ask me and I don't know. And so, you know, I want to ask just to give a fair chance because a lot of times, people hear something, they make a conclusion out of their own mind. Sometimes in the movement, people put things out on purpose. That's not true. And so I don't know either way. So I'm trying to figure out what's up. So when I speak, that I can speak correctly and with honesty and, just keep the most relevant information in front of the people. That's the only way we're going to really win in this fight. And so there's been some fighting, there's been some attacks, there's been some battles, there's been some stuff going each way, back and forth. But all we need to do is come together and talk in order to be able to see the truth. And many times I feel like people aren't coming together to talk. I'm adding Fran on. They don't. That's one of the biggest issues is that some people have jealousy. Some people videos are already trying to kick me off. Some people have different issues that are not uh, legitimate reasons for being upset with somebody. But for me, I just like to go ask because if you go ask, you can always figure out exactly what's going on. Fran, can you hear me?
I can. It's loud and clear. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you. I wanted to get you on, and I had some questions because some people asked some different things of me regarding like businesses and stuff for you or whatever. And I don't know, I don't know to be able to tell them either way. Um, but what I do want to do is be able to talk to you and make stuff clear to give you a fair chance to be able to talk. Um, because I do forward your stuff. I do go on live with you. So I just wanted to ask you questions and let you have a chance to speak for yourself.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay. So first question, simple question. So pretty much, I know that not everybody on here is going to know who you are. So I want to make sure they know who you are first. So first of all, I want to ask you, are you a advocate in the family law movement or the juvenile court movement?
Um, the family like the movement, have been advocating long before. Okay, sorry if it cuts out every once in a while.
You're
Sorry
breaking up
about
a little
that.
bit.
I have been. Really. Um, Tell me
It's
when it's
better.
better. Okay. I've been advocating for years. I've been
It's
advocating
breaking
for
up.
years.
It's breaking up again.
How
It's breaking up again. Turn to your left.
my left. Turn to my left.
Turn
How
to
about that? Is that better? The
uh
store.
when you,
Is on.
when you were aimed to the left, you were doing a lot better.
Okay, I did. I turned completely around. Is that better? Can you hear me?
Way
Let
way
me
better.
try going down this aisle.
Okay, so are you
Way better?
Are
Way
you an
better?
advocate in the family law movement? Is that what you do, or the juvenile? I know it's a lot of things involved, but
I, I mean, personally, I've been doing this for a long time. Because I've always advocated for families. I've always advocated my life. Best
guys,
happy.
let me know if you can hear Fran, guys, because it's
30.
really
Yeah, can you guys
choppy.
hear me? Can you guys hear me? Send up some hearts or thumbs up or something if you could hear me.
Because for me, it's rough as heck over here.
Make sure you could. Is it
Super
really?
rough.
Like I hear you very clear. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, hang on. Hang on. I'm going to take it outside and I'll just come back in and finish this.
Yeah.
Finish what I have to do. I'll take it outside. I'm going to take it outside, okay? Just give me a minute. Tell me when you can hear me. Tell me when.
I can hear you now.
You can. Okay, so I'll just take this outside and then go back to my car for a little bit and finish this after. So I've been advocating for a long time, pre even this family stuff. I've always cared about justice. I've always cared about right and wrong. I've always cared about people being mistreated. So veterans, elderly people, disabled people, I've always cared. So, you know, I guess that would make you an advocate, if that's the terminology you want to give. But that's something that I've just always cared about. And then when I got involved in the family court, I couldn't believe what was going on. I couldn't understand how they would do the worst case. They would render orders, actual court orders, that were the worst choices for children and for my own child. And so I started upping my game with that and getting very deeply involved outside of this family rights movement. This is not something I've ever been involved in. This is new to me, very new to me. And so I got so involved that I spoke before legislators. I got involved with other advocates in my area, and I started pulling meetings together. And when I pull those meetings together, I had people come from all kinds of states, and I was stunned. I'd literally get a room, and people would come from Connecticut, New Jersey, City, Massachusetts, to come see me talk. And I'd be like, wow, this is a serious problem. And then I would hear story after story of the same kind of tragedies where they couldn't protect their children or their rights were taken and they didn't do anything wrong but try to protect their children from normal things that any normal parent would be concerned about. That you would just, a God-given inherent right to protect your children from drug abuse and just certain things, that physical abuse, that you would think that any judge would commend a parent for. And instead, they just made their lives a living hell. And so I continued to get more and more involved. And I said, geez, because I remember one day being in court going, God, when you've got this many arrests every time you go back to court, and in my case, the father was just arrested repeatedly, DWIs, drug dealing, all kinds of stuff. And I've got this like really clean background. I'm the only financial support to the child. I'm the only person, doing it, giving a responsible home, a protective, normal home. If this is happening to me, I remember being in court. I remember that day like it was yesterday. This can't just be happening to me. That's what I remember thinking. And that's when I started really advocating and getting a hold of all the legislators and senators and the assemblyman specifically that actually wrote me 3 separate letters. I have 3 separate letters of recommendation from him. I sat down, and then I decided to do a rally in front of the court one day because I had so many
Let me
victims.
ask you this: you spoke about senators. Nobody ever asked me this, but have you ever been paid by senators to do this work?
Oh my God, no! Oh my God, no! I've never been paid by anybody. Never.
Okay.
By a
So
soul.
you're not paid by any entity or group or nothing to say any of the things that you talk about or anything like that.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And
Okay. So
I had nice, like the assemblyman that passed away. I can say that I've met some good ones in the mix that have tried really hard to help fix this problem and agree it's an issue.
Mhm.
Um, Assemblyman Frank Scartatos, like I said, he wrote 3 letters of recommendation because I pulled all kinds of experts into a hearing after. But what happened was, is I did the first rally for
Mhm.
reform in front of the Ulster County Family Court, and I had all media showed up. And
Wait, so
at that point,
you've actually
I
had
didn't
events
know
where you
this.
brought media to the table?
Lots of media,
So they
lots of
actually came
media,
out.
and then after they actually came out, it was both TV
Mhm.
and news, print. And after that, what had happened was I scheduled it for August 13th, I
Mhm.
believe it was, 2014. And I did it, and I had a very good turnout. And it was my very first rally. And um, everybody was impressed with the way it turned out. But sadly, a little boy was killed here in our county, Mason DeCosmo. And so that kind of mixed into the same
Mhm.
rally. And this pretty much the same judge that is one of the judges that is in my book that did this to my family. What I found, what I learned was that he's done this for 15 years worth of not protecting
Mhm.
children. It's bad. It's just bad. And he's not the only one, but he's one of the, like, I see a pattern of abuse with him
Mhm.
specifically, ripping apart mothers and
Mhm.
children. Okay, so his pattern really is mothers and children, where we know other judges go after dads. I can assure you he goes specifically targets mothers and
Mhm.
children. So what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. Okay, and I can't say too much yet, but I have another story coming out, and I'm pretty devastated over it. You know about it, David. But basically, if a person's a drug addict or an alcoholic, he doesn't make his decision based
Mhm.
on that. Okay, unless that person's a
Mhm.
mother. He gives children to abusers. He clearly gives children to abusers. And it's quite sick, not to mention I feel evil, but he gives children to abusers. So he wasn't even my judge for the years I went to court personally. And I don't know anybody that, and I know people, we know. I'm sorry. I got a call. We in this quote unquote movement. Do I need to sign
No,
back
no,
in
no. I
again?
want to ask you one other question because
Okay. The phone knocked me off.
yeah,
That's
I
why I
want to
wasn't
ask you
sure.
some questions because there's a few people who are saying things and
Okay. Uh-uh.
doing now and trying to kick me off. I want to ask you some of the tougher questions that people want to hear, and I want to make
That's
sure
fine.
everything is clear. So,
Yes.
a woman named Jacqueline, she's saying something about you saying that you should be paid. So, I want to ask you,
Who is she? I don't know her. What's her
Jacqueline
last name?
Janelle. She says she may have saw it on a video or on a live feed. So,
Huh.
I want you to
Okay.
speak to that issue. Like, do you believe?
I
Yeah,
should
do
be
you believe
paid.
that advocates should be paid, or explain what you mean if you said that, or explain your point of view just so everybody can understand and we can hear it?
Okay. And I think it's important that people understand my story because I give everybody else's stories. I always let everybody else give their
Mm-hmm.
stories. Part of being an advocate is to let people get that vented out. It's very important for healing. People want to talk. Like, they can't believe what they're going through and they finally get that chance
Mm-hmm.
to talk. And that is such an important thing for not just healing, but to feel
Mm-hmm.
validated because you can't believe what's happening to you. And so that is a major part of advocating. But gosh, I mean, there's just so much to my story to even get me to this point to even answer that question. I'm sure I said it within a video in response to and in defense of people begrudging any advocates from getting any kind of
Mm-hmm.
money. So the way I can answer that is this way. David, you just did an event
Mm-hmm.
with us. Did anybody pay you to go to that event, to go travel all the way to Washington, D.C. and back? Did anybody pay
Nobody
you for
paid me to
that?
go. I do have a couple of people who supported me in going, but no, actually, no actual families that really had issues with CPS helped me to go. I had people who are fighting who want to see the whole system crash, who did help support
Yeah.
me going, but nobody just paid the whole
Okay.
thing or
Like,
anything like that.
a little bit of financial help, I mean? because I didn't get any financial at all. It cost me, the trade cost me out of pocket. I didn't get any help at all. I had to rent my car, pay my own hotels.
We're gonna have
Did you get paid for the hour for that?
because the video is breaking up. We got the video breaking up. We're gonna
Okay,
have you repeat that
it might
again.
be. I was just saying, I personally, nobody financially supported me in any way, shape, or form. I had to rent my own car because I have a 2004, so I don't drive it past 2 hours. I had to rent my own hotel rooms. I had to pay for my own food. And I don't know about you, but did you get paid by the hour for that? Because I didn't. And we publicly serve the public, correct? We publicly serve the public, trying to educate people of influence so that we could stop the abuse of families. So do I feel that advocates should be paid? Oh my goodness. Well, how do I look at it? Do you have a full-time job or some way of bringing in income so that you can actually function and live and pay your rent or your mortgage, your cars, your gas, whatever? This is additional to life itself. This is additional to the basic needs of the necessities. This is additional costs to us as advocates. So we lay our lives down for the needs of others, right? Without a paycheck. Now I'm not, I have PTSD, but I don't get disability. And I always had a full-time job working without child support. And so I supported myself, I supported my son, and, well supported us, I had lows and highs though. I mean, there's times where I did better financially and times where I had it very hard, like everybody else. Happen to have a family of professional people, so we support one another in need. However, and we like nice things like everybody else in this world, but we work for what we have.
Do you have a two-parent income in your home now?
What? No, I never have. No. It's always been on me. Me and me alone.
Like a unmarried mom?
Absolutely,
so no
yeah.
bringing money in to help you do all this stuff, nothing like that?
No, I have nobody to support me, and all along I had a job until this situation happened with my son, and now I have not worked.
Wait, so you don't have a job?
I was blessed in that. No, at this time I do not have a job, and if you don't want to call this a job, because it's not a paid job, but I've never worked so hard. Like, I've always worked very hard, always. When I was going to court every single month or twice a month and having to hold down a full-time job, I had to make up the time that I had to be in court. So that was very, very difficult and very tiring and very draining. Helping other families, protecting your own child, living in court for 9 years, 10 years, over and over and over and over. And then when you lose work, you got to go back and make up that time, because how do you pay your bills? Right? So do I feel advocate? My goodness, why shouldn't people be paid? Everybody is paid, whether you work at McDonald's, which is work and which I commend, or if you are a CEO of a big company. Everybody gets paychecks. Some people get a lot more money for what they do than people who actually work harder. It's, we see it would be very unfair in a lot of ways. Some people maybe push a pen all day long and go out to lunch for most of their day, and get paid lots of somebody. And,
so let me ask you a question about this.
And works very, very hard.
Sorry to interrupt you because it's breaking up, so I thought you stopped. So please forgive me.
No.
I want to ask you a question because you said paid. So when you say paid, are you saying that you're getting people's kids back? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying something else?
I have never asked anybody for a penny. I don't get paid for this. I've never asked for money, and I've never made promises. I have a very good success rate with what I do because I don't stop until these families get the help they need. And I have all kinds of resources out there and expert people that are all here to help support everybody that comes to get the help that they need. And basically train them to do it themselves too at the same time. But no, I've never gotten paid, and I've never asked for money. Never.
Have you ever said something to the effect, in any type of way, give me some money and I can get your kids back? Or if okay, you never say anything like that? 'Cause what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh my God, no. I have public videos, David. I have public videos open to the public. All they have to do is watch them, and you'll never once ever hear me say it or put it in writing that I've asked for money. Matter of fact, I just helped this woman 3 times now, 3 separate times, traveled way out of my way and back, and never asked her for 1 penny. Court watched with her, went and did a consultation with her. Um, Anybody that's ever worked with me, if they genuinely worked with me, and you ask them, unless they're lying, okay, they will tell you this woman never asked for a penny. As a matter of fact, people will tell you that I've actually helped them and given them money somehow,
So
some
you
way, whether it be in support of food, whether they needed a place to stay, or whether they needed help with an attorney fee. So never, and that's out of my pocket, not out of donations, not out of grants, not out of people giving me money, not out of me requesting money. It's been out of my own
so let me ask you
savings.
this then. What's the most somebody ever gave you in the form of a gift or donation?
Okay, so the very, very first quote unquote donation I got was not to me. It was a woman, matter of fact, she posted it, named Melanie Herring, and she said, Francesca, she was this woman, we have issues with her, and that's being handled, but she said, Francesca, if there's any families in need, I have $500 that she claimed God told her to give to a family in need. And I just so happened at that time have a family who actually used to have a lot of money. And they had had a health issue with one of their children that cost them a
Mm-hmm.
fortune. And they were CPS victims at one time too. Okay, they got past that. It took a year though. Anyway, and that was pre me. That was pre me in their life, and they were losing their home, and a lot of bad things were happening at the same time. And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. 500 wasn't going to even come close to what they needed, but I wanted to try to help them not lose their home, and I said I'll double that. So she sent me 500. I doubled it, and it helped them. Okay, it didn't solve their problems, but it helped them. That was the first donation. So that didn't go to me. That went through me, but not
So
to
you've
me.
been
Okay.
responsible for giving
The
donations to
second,
other people? Or I don't want to say donations, maybe I
oh
should
my
say
God.
gift. Because a lot of times people look and say, well, if you call it a donation, you got to have this company and all this. But
Right. So
yeah,
it's gifts, and again, I'm a single mom. I am not Donald Trump. Okay, I'm not the Bank of
well, can I
America.
can I can
I'm
I
a
ask you
simple
a prying
person.
question? I know you might not want to tell me, you might get upset, but
You can
just
ask me anything. Ask me anything.
don't know um, how you've done for other people. I feel uncomfortable even
Yeah,
asking, but you got to ask. So what is
it's
the
okay.
most that you've
I
ever
was
had
willing to do
been
this.
responsible for giving somebody in the movement?
Oh God. See, now this is what I feel. You're a
I
Christian.
know
I'm a
you're not
Christian.
supposed to
The
tell
Bible says to
what
do
the left hand or the right hand is doing.
well, I don't. Well, if the Bible says that we're supposed to not, make our giving known to man, so that our gift is in heaven and not here. And sadly, and this makes me very sad, but I've had to tell people what I've given in the first place when it was between me
Yeah.
and God. And I did it out of the motive of my heart was to do it for people because, see, I'm so thankful for what He's done for me that I wanted to be a blessing to other people. And I can't believe I've been attacked in an area of doing the
Well,
right thing.
I
It's
understand we're
absolutely
not supposed
breaks
to
my
tell. I
heart.
know.
But I've given it's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been, let's put it this way. I have a lawyer on my board and a good guy, a very good guy, actually. He's a Christian also. And he knows every penny that's been gifted out to help families financially. Okay? He knows. And he's a man of integrity. And so because he's got it in his ledger, he's got it all. And the only reason I did that is some of the families I'm very thankful because they've gotten
Yeah.
their kids back. Some of the families I'm not happy that I did that. And it wasn't just this attorney, it was 2 different attorneys because they walked all over me and shot me in the back for doing good for them. And listen, I get the PTSD thing and I get the devastation of families not having their children. And I know that pain of not being able to protect your child because they're not with you or children. I know that pain firsthand because I was retaliated. And anybody can turn that story into anything they want to. But the name punished for protecting came out of my own retaliation. Punished for protecting my child. Being arrested is being punished for
Let me
protecting
ask
your
you this,
child.
man.
Having your child taken is being punished. So I know what that feels like, and I wanted to be able to help those families anyway, even if it was just giving them some hope that somebody
let me
cares,
ask you this, because
because that's what
the
God did for
reason
me.
I want to know, like, not who it is, but like I want to ask you kind of like a dollar amount, just so people can have a balance, because I've asked you if anybody gave you
Yeah,
money. Now that's one
some
side.
stuff you, some stuff you
Yeah,
can
that's
look up. Right. Well, there's been. I want to clarify one more thing though. That was the largest quote unquote donation I was ever given, and like I said, it wasn't for me. It went immediately to another family, and I doubled it. So that wasn't a donation. Then after that, I did request donations for somebody that was teaching my classes, and I doubled it every single time because they hardly came in. They trickled in. There was a few people giving, and it went directly to that person. And I showed that on a live, and I specifically detailed it and showed all the giving I did to that person, who also stabbed me in the back. Okay, but I showed it. I made it public, and I didn't have to, because that's how I am. I am very forthright. That's how I am. I'm not a perfect person, but I am very forthcoming. I'm very forthright. I believe in transparency. I believe in, I just believe in being right with God. I live my life by that. Now, lastly, I decided that because I legally can, I did a membership thing for the classes because I have to recoup costs somewhere. And so it's a $10 membership, but nobody pays that. Most people don't pay anything. And I asked for at least a minimum of a penny because it goes through PayPal. And that helps us with the vetting process because we see what's out there troll wise. So we have to be able to vet these people for not just our own protection, but for the others that are in that private teaching group with us. Because people, first of all, the people that are talking bad, they're not in those classes, so how could they know what we say or do in there? Okay, number one, they just make stuff up. And I can, because of the type of nonprofit I have, I can do a membership. It's a membership, kind of a love gift donation, whatever you want to call that, membership. And like I said, for the most that's ever come through there, that's actually come into punish for protecting, God is my witness, is maybe $300 in a year, over a
so.
year's time.
Have
Now
you
you
ever
put that up against what I've spent out.
so you
You put that up against what I've spent out. That's
have you ever been
no,
responsible for somebody getting over $1,000?
never,
No,
ever,
no, not giving
never.
you. I'm saying you giving out. Have you ever
Oh,
gave out more than $1,000 at one time ever?
okay. I've paid several retainers for people, and you can just kind of do the math on that. Several, both federal retainers and um, uh, uh, local people, attorneys that I have. I've paid out. Paid out.
So
I'm not Donald Trump.
retainers
I just want
probably
you guys
been
to know
like,
that. I was blessed. I was blessed during the incident that happened with my child through a family member, and that's now. And I was blessed. So I was a blessing to others, and that's between me and God. But that's why I did it, and I did it because I don't want to see people not have their children, and I don't want to see people not have. Do you want to know that they're going to get the help they deserve as a human being? Even if they're bad people, which some of them turned out to be, I still care about their kids, okay, and that relationship between mom, dad, and child, okay, when it's safe, when it's
so
when
to
it's
say
safe.
like a retainer for me,
So
that would be like 2,500 to 5,000, sometimes 10. Would you say that?
more more like between
Yeah.
8 and
Okay.
10.
So you've been responsible for helping people on the low without people knowing, just quietly. So if you spent $8,000 in one year, let's just say that, to help somebody, you have never brought that much in at all in punish for protecting anyway, right?
No, the only thing is, like I said, like those classes are the way that we help accommodate this many thousands of
Mm-hmm.
people. So in order for them to get educated, trained properly, forget what they've been taught that's been not helping them and is
Mm-hmm.
wrong, okay? So we have experts that are teaching, like yourself, okay? And also it's fellowship for them, it's support for them, it's the way we can actually get advocates to sit in their courts with them, so they have that option too, if we can find people in their area that are trained, because we don't want to just send anybody in their court. What if that person is triggered and starts yelling in court? We don't want that. We want
Mm-hmm.
a human being to advocate for them, to take their clipboard and take down the right, information, and make sure that the judge is doing the proper thing, that the attorneys, they know what to look
Mm-hmm.
for. Okay, they're
Mm-hmm.
trained. So individually, it's impossible for me to obviously go one-on-one, but I do a ton of
Okay.
one-on-one, out of my own gas, out of my own traveling, out of my own buying, da da da, that kind of thing, out of my own time. So, but that's how we do it, and it's through the classes because it's the best way to accommodate a
Got
lot
you.
of
Okay,
people.
so there's
You
one
know,
other
it's easier too.
hard question that um I couldn't figure out myself, I didn't really have the time to go search and look at everything, but I was given someone put on my page a document that they say was from your web page that said that your web page said that you were a 501c3. So a whole bunch of people were trying to say that you did not have, not a whole bunch, a number of people tried to say you didn't have a non for
Right.
profit at all. But I realized that
That's
in
rude.
the person's search that they sent me, punish for protecting was
Yeah.
spelled wrong. So it said like push for protecting. And so it came up with nothing.
Was that intentional? My question would be, did they put it in intentionally so that they can pretend like nothing really
See,
was
I
there?
don't,
Because why would you spell punish, pushed, and whatever they did? I
yeah,
saw
I
it,
don't
and it's
know for
like,
sure. And
come on, they don't know how to
as
spell.
open as I could and show what they put, but I couldn't say anything because I didn't know for sure. But I do first want to ask. I did believe I saw a document that I forwarded that you wrote that said you did have a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So you do really have a nonprofit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I've always been. Let me see if I have a card. So for like 9+ years, I've always been. Where is it? Yeah, I got one. I've always been a foundation, not a nonprofit. Okay. It's now CPS. You can see I'm a mandated reporter. I'm also certified in a lot of different things. People don't even know who I am. Okay? Which I won't even get into that here because it's going to help the movement in a major way. But anyway, the movement on a whole. But when this happened and I went viral and my book became a bestseller and I started doing just different things to really get attention and really pump this message out there, again, out of my own pocket, I decided to go nonprofit with Punish for Protecting and nonprofit because I said, shoot, I can't keep shelling out like this, but I want to help millions of people. Okay? And not everybody in this that has lost their children are poor. Some people just like to buy beer and alcohol and cigarettes and to do that, but God forbid they put $5 in it, to save their kids. So that kind of annoys me. And I want to do things on the up and up, so I wanted to go nonprofit. And then, like I said, there's other people that actually do have money and they can donate or whatever, and I want to be able to do it the right way. Okay. So I decided to uninstall National Coalition as a name, okay, and install Punish for Protecting, which is what I did. So I'm not even a full year. So first of all, you don't have to file with the IRS in your first 2 years, and I've only taken a loss, right? But I still did. So not only am I a legal registered nonprofit, and I'm not a 501c3, I'm a 501c4, and I'll explain that. And I'm also registered as a charity because when I did file with the IRS, they said, you took a major hit, so you are a charity. A charity is when you give charitable out, not in. So they could go search me till they dig their way to China. Good luck on that, okay? Anything I've ever said or me up, well, it's in my book. So I wasn't hiding anything. Again, I show the inside of my bank account. Nobody does that unless required or asked to show their stuff. I just chose to do it because that's who I am. Okay, nothing hidden. So anyway, I'm what's called a
Mhm.
501c4, and not most people don't even know what that is. Most people, when they do a nonprofit, they just do a 3. But I researched them both out, and I thought, this is better because I already lobby. I already speak to legislators. I've already been doing that for years, so it gives you lobbying, kind of like not privileges, but a certain amount of lobbying um,
Capable. Yeah.
accountability even, okay? And also, it's a social welfare, social reform nonprofit because that's what I do. So in our membership classes, in our education, we're covered, people. Every one of us are covered in that protective umbrella, okay? So, I mean, I do a lot of research. I study things and I find out what's the best, and I think of it on a whole of what's good for
Mhm.
everybody. What's good for my advocates? What's good to protect my whistleblowers? What's good for you teaching or James or whoever is going to come in there or whoever has
Mhm.
come in there? Okay? So that because we're forced to be reckoned with in the long run. We're building something very powerful because we need to replace child predator services. We need to replace family court circus and all this nonsense that people have been fooled by for so long. So it doesn't surprise me that I get attacked the way I do, but I'll tell you something, it is hurtful, it's demeaning, it's degrading, it's disgusting, it's daily, and it's 25/8 as long as I'm working, because this is work, okay? Yes, I'm a public servant, but this is work. It's more work than you can ever imagine unless you do it. And it's, don't get me wrong, you get a lot of thank yous. I get tons of amazing mail all day long, a lot more than I get negative, but you get a lot of negative crap from people that you don't deserve, you didn't ask for. They didn't come to you like a human being, okay? And they don't have to be a biblical person, but as a human being, if you hear something about somebody, you don't go spreading a rumor unless you find out, and you come and you talk to that person as a respectful adult. So I mean, that's just
Well,
my
I
take
say
on it. And you find out if this is
this.
true.
I say the same thing. I feel like in this movement, we can really kick some butt and we're moving really, really, really fast. I think you have a very good forum. As you know, you were one of the first ones to pull me onto your forum when I was starting to put the word out and understand things that were not true. Um, you were able to snatch me up and get me on your show twice, which my numbers started to grow tremendously after that. I mean, like outrageously. And I've always seen you as honest and, I seen you tough on CPS and tough on judges and different things like that. You wouldn't stand up for a lot of bull, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, I noticed that there was these people who were saying these things, and I couldn't understand why they were attacking you. But let me ask you, on your page though, on your page, the guy did put a snapshot of he said that it said 501c3 on there, but you're saying it's a 501c4, right?
Yeah, if you go on my website and you scroll down, it's going to be on every single page on my website. It'll say the copyrights. Like right now, For the Children is copyright underneath the umbrella of Punished for Protecting nonprofit. And my nonprofit will say 501c4. And then under it will be other copyrights like National Coalition, Tri-State Coalition. Different copyrights of things that I've done throughout the years is all on that website.
Oh, wait. So, because somebody asked about these different names, and I saw one name, and then I saw punished for protecting. So I didn't even realize this. So what you're saying is you have an umbrella company that copyrights are done up under it for different like taglines or names or something like that.
Right, because I own the names. I own Punish for Protecting. I own National Coalition. They're mine. They're mine.
Oh,
I
oh,
gave birth to them. I
gotcha.
created them. So they're on there. So, but like I don't own For the Children. That's Robert's.
Oh, okay.
But
I got
he's umbrellaed under my nonprofit. But so that's on there because that's my work for all the years. So actually, Tri-State Coalition now, that actually belongs to someone else. And Vicki Gribben is one of the co-founders. And she's one of my very good friends, forensic expert. And she is a very, very good friend of mine. She's an ex-New York City police officer, and she's a licensed social worker. I mean, she's a really good person, and she does everything she can to help people. And so originally, she appointed me under Tri-State Coalition in the beginning years. She appointed me for Ulster County, but it got so big I couldn't handle just. In other words, it got so big I had to broaden it, so I made National Coalition. Because, like I said, whenever I would have a meeting, you would think I was a celebrity. All I was trying to do was help people, and they came from everywhere. And I was like, I can't just do this for Ulster County because it's not just Ulster County. It's
got
everyone. I was shocked. Like I was learning. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable that this problem is like all over the freaking place. And
so that's
every
what got you
story,
started to
different
traveling.
people, then they all say the same thing. Hmm? What?
Is that what got you started into this whole
What did you say?
traveling thing and going all over the place?
Yeah, so I always traveled, and both judges knew I traveled. It was never unknown. That's why if you hear my story and what they're trying to say, like if there's things that you don't say, I'm going to actually put it out there, regarding
You're,
some of
you're,
the lies that they're telling,
you're
because,
breaking
like
up.
I said, I hide
You're
nothing.
breaking up pretty bad. We're gonna miss a lot of what you said. Uh, Say that one more time for me, please.
Oh,
I'm
I was
sorry.
just saying if you don't. I was just saying that if you don't know something that they've said bad about me, I will be happy to bring it out today too. because I can respond to everything that they're trying to say. Listen, they're doing it with malice. They're only doing it to hurt and to harm. It's not like they're doing it because they're really trying to protect the public from me, because that's ridiculous. No different than anybody would want to protect the public from you, because what we're doing is helping the public and the children. So the only reason they do this, and I can say this with full assurance, is because they're just wanting to take down those people that will stop this abuse to families. It's in direct violation of our civil liberties. I just met one of my old attorneys, and he was so thrilled that I'm running for governor. He just was absolutely gung-ho over it, because he was educated through my case, because he happens to work more in a court that's not as messed up as others, okay? And it's messed up, but it's not as bad. But when he saw Ulster County Family Court, he did not believe me at first until he got involved in my case. And he was just like, and this is if you want to say a master attorney, a great attorney, he is amazing. Okay, it's Meth Law Firm in Westchester, New York, and he was like, he couldn't believe it. He thought I was like some person, like conspiracy theorist. I'm like, no, I'm telling you that this is happening. And until he got in there, because he doesn't usually go to that court, you know, he's more like in Westchester, more like, and they are more, they're more presentable, they're more put together, they're more polished, they're in suits, they're, you know, like there in Ulster County, it's more like a barn. It's more like they're dressed disheveled, the attorneys. You can't tell the attorneys from the lay people. So he did not believe me. He honestly didn't believe me until he
Hey,
took my case. And then he was like,
I got to stop you real quick.
yeah.
There's a good comment, and I don't want it to get lost inside of the comments because some new Facebook thing, they're cutting off the comments. But something just very powerful
Okay.
just happened. So there's a woman named Jacqueline Janelle, or Jacqueline Janelle. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm sorry. But she said something really powerful. She said, and this is why I wanted to come on, because there's a lot of people who want to get to know you, a lot of people who want to, see what it is you're all about. Some of them may want to love you and be close to you, but they don't know because people are saying things. And I want things to be out in the open and talk to people, because when we do that, it can clear up the air for somebody who really might just not know and be on the edge. So this is what she said, and it's really powerful. She said, I'm honestly not trying
I'm
to
fine.
point fingers. There's been a lot of people who have claimed that she, Fran, has caused people to want to commit suicide. I thought this was a good time to see why people are saying this and why so many people are attacking her as well. Thank you for taking your time, for taking time to address my comments. So that, first of all, I just want to tell her I appreciate her for coming on, because that's an awesome thing to
Yes.
do. Just that shows the power of a person who's willing to wait to hear the truth and understand rather than just destroy someone. So this is a powerful thing right here and a
Yes.
breakthrough for the movement.
So, yeah. So, Jacqueline, first, thank you for asking that, because that's one of the ones I was going to actually address. Second of all, thank you for being a normal, decent, and respectful human being and asking. There's nothing wrong with that, and so I commend you for that. Um, Never, never, as a matter of fact, and this is not to say anything, because I know a lot of advocates who are so wonderful, and their hearts are broken because they've lost a suicide victim, and it's not their fault. I want to make that very, very clear. It's not your fault. You do all you can to protect them. I've been thankful that I have never lost one, never lost one. And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, because I'm sure that come, and I will, maybe more than one. Okay, like to them coming to me and me staying up with them all night, and them not doing anything to themselves. I had one issue one time where I was a woman literally cutting herself on Facebook, and she was bleeding all over the place, and she was from another country, and I had no other way to get to anybody that knew her, because I knew some people in her vicinity, but they weren't responding, and I had to act as fast as possible, and I had no other way to know even what to do in that country. Okay, so what I did is I immediately took her live, because she was live on Facebook. She was already live, and I made that live on my life, because I knew I'd get the numbers I needed to get her life saved, and thank the Lord above, her life was saved. And then I took the video down, and then I made Facebook take her video down, because I reported it, because I didn't want it on Facebook. But it was one of those things that you had to think fast and act fast in the middle of the night, where nobody else was reachable but me. And then what happened was, believe it or not, nobody helped her in her own country. So guess who was her advocate? I actually was on a live with her. I was actually on like almost like FaceTime. I guess it's like almost like FaceTime, and I was with her inside the hospital, and the nurses and the staff um, spoke to me and let me stay with her through the night, um, and talk with them and keep her going um, and and all that. It was great. It was wonderful that they did that, and they were very concerned, and they were very beautiful people. This is a lie that's been told. I'm not the only person that they use it. I have a little joke almost. It's like these people that are out there that make these stories up. That I'm not the only target. Okay, others are targets. Others have been targets long before I came out. Other great voices, they've done this to them too. They've actually taken people down. Okay, um, but it's almost like I have a little suitcase. Okay, let's try the she steals donation or he steals donation suitcase packet first. Let's open that one up and let's start spreading that rumor. Okay, that's not working. She's not down yet. Let's try the she's caused the first thing that, and it was actually Jay Moss that started that lie. The first thing he said was, I had 300 people commit suicide over me,
Wow.
over me making them
Shut.
commit suicide. So it started out with 300, and I was just like, think about this, people. Hold on. You don't have to be that smart even. But if 300 people committed suicide in one day because of Fran, that would have been on national news, okay? The whole family rights movement would have known about that. So he realized how dumb that was, so he took it down to 20 people. If you watch him, then I think it's down to about 3 now. So it started out with 300, then it was 20, then it was 3.
Wow.
It's This is what
You know
they
what?
do.
I can
I don't cause
testify to
people
that.
to commit
I can
suicide.
testify to that because he tried to contact me and say, David, I have 20 people who are trying to kill themselves because of Fran. And also Ryan
Right.
Swindle said the same thing. And they have a big crew together. So um I can say if it's Jacqueline or Jacqueline, I do want to tell you, you know what, I can stand up for that fact because I've seen them do
I
that
love
to
you,
people.
Letitia.
And to me, it just sounds so
Hmm.
utterly ridiculous. I asked them, do you have any evidence? I said, do you have would you write that on an affidavit? And they disappeared.
Right. How come why don't you just take
Yeah,
me to
and I've
court
asked that
for all
too.
this
I,
stuff?
I
Thank you.
asked him when he said
I'll
something
go.
about you and Chris Hallett, I said, have you taken them to court? And what he said out of his own mouth is, no, David, I didn't it didn't happen yet. And I'm like, so what you waiting for? Like, why are you telling me all this stuff? Why don't you take it to court or take it to them one on one? And because I refused
Right.
to push their narrative because they wanted me to speak out what they said without evidence. And I'm like, listen, don't bring me any gossip about somebody if you're not willing to stand on it. You're not going to do anything in court and you have no evidence. Don't just bring something where you call your evidence the accusation, hey, Fran got 20 people that she almost that wanted to kill themselves because of her. Well, show me the proof, show me the snapshots. Don't show me the fact that you just said it out in the open and call that an accusation. I mean a evidence. And so I did actually see
Yeah.
them say that. Now
Exactly.
I forget a lot of stuff, and I'll tell you why. When somebody comes to me talking about any advocate that I see fighting and pushing, it goes in one ear and out the other
Right.
unless they bring multiple witnesses. So the thing is, I have seen that these,
Well, be careful with the multiple witnesses, though, because those quote unquote multiple witnesses are the same
well,
troll
I know they got
brigade. They're
a
the
big
same.
group of people I know, but the thing
Right.
is,
But there has to be
yeah, they
actual
need to
evidence. I want to see it. I
have
want to
actual
see
real
it.
evidence and multiple testimonies. Like, for instance, we came out and we talked about
Right.
somebody who was attacking
Right.
the people today. This one person, when I first met them,
Hmm.
before I even knew who Fran was, this person said, David, you better stay away from this person, Fran. She's destroying cases and she's telling people that this system isn't legitimate. And I'm like, well, you know what? I've been looking at the private,
It's not.
I've been looking at the private membership associations and the private documents of these people and their private contractors, and I say they're illegitimate too. you know, but
So David, then that's kind of to me as a thinking person with a detective mind. If somebody claims to be an advocate against the movement, but then is concerned that you're attacking
CPR.
um, the courts and then are they really advocates against the movement, or are they working
Well,
for the
this is what
movement?
this is.
And I don't think that the movement. I mean, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, that are they really working for the
Well,
establishment
this is
itself? That's my first question. I mean, that's what
it
it
messed
first
me up
tells me.
because for the life of me, I kept saying, why is it that every person who goes viral and get a big platform, these same people are attacking? I mean, relentless. And think about this. It
Right.
takes so much time to make a meme about a person, post it
Mhm.
online and share it like crazy and continue to talk about people. It takes a lot of time. What I literally noticed is that these people literally attack the advocates more than they deal with CPS at all. They might,
I know, if they spent 5 minutes doing what they do to us, boy, they'd win their
yeah, I mean,
cases. They'd be winning
well,
left, right, and center.
everybody will have their kids home is what'll happen because there's so many of us in this nation that are figuring out what's happening.
CPS is easy to take
But
down, by the way.
how can you spend most of your living time attacking people who are actually fighting this wicked system and then call yourself an advocate to help people fight against this wicked system? It's like everybody who becomes, and this is what
Right.
they said to me and other people. I heard Amelia say these same words. I heard another person say these same words, and it was said to me. They came to me and they're like, David, there's a lady, I'm gonna call her Zimmy. She came to me and she said, David, I know you're not doing these selfie lives. I know you're not going viral. What's up with you going viral? Like, you should just be keeping your case private and dealing with yourself. This is what she said to me about a month and a half, 2 months ago. She let me know that I couldn't roll with her, even though I don't roll with her. I can't roll with her if I don't get rid of you, Chris, Kirk, and all those guys. And I said, look, I'm really not tripping on anything that you say, but I will not be censored and told who I cannot talk to. I'm not going to do that. You're not going to tell me I can't go live. I'm like, so the person who gave me a forum, Amelia Duran and you, were the first people to ever have me on the
Maybe
show.
Connor.
You were the first people to ever get me out there in a way that people can really hear my voice and see me. I got hundreds of friend requests. My numbers started flying out the roof, and all the information that I was studying, it was just crazy because people started to hear. So I couldn't believe that this woman came to me and let me know that I needed to get rid of you, get rid of Chris, get rid of Kirk, all the people. Kirk and all those guys brought me on video on their show and let me talk about what I was doing with my habeas corpus, which got kicked out, which was an amazing thing because it was also an affidavit. But they brought me on, and they were the ones who, after Robert and you set up for me to be able to come to the meeting, the word came through them for me to go to DC. So none of this stuff could have happened if
Right.
you,
Right.
Rob, Chris, Kurt, and John Gentry didn't get me to go. And so these people, though, tried to
Well,
tell me not to deal with you and not to deal with these guys. And I was just blown away. I said, how in the world can we have people making so many moves, doing so many things, knocking down so much wickedness, kids coming back, and the only people that I've ever saw these people attack were you guys?
kids coming back and kids not being
Yeah, it's
taken.
ridiculous.
Okay, that's what's happening. So I just want to say something because my phone is going to heat up if I want to all this get my but is there any other ones you had? Because I have a couple that I'm thinking of right now that I'd like to.
It sounded like everything got mixed up. You sound like the teacher on Charlie Brown.
Okay. So what I wanted to say is I just don't want my phone to heat up. Turn the air.
Okay.
If there's, do you have any other questions for me? Because there's a couple I want to touch on. I can get it out there for people to know. And yes, Jay Moss not only said that he said horrible things about me, horrible, and memes, very degrading memes of people, all in the name of him having to have a moral obligation to take me down. That's his philosophy. So whatever that is, I don't know. But anyway, the trying to think. All these people, all of these people, I've already done the research.
Take you down?
They all want to. His moral obligation is to take me down because I'm a fraud. Wouldn't he have to prove that I'm a fraud first before? I mean, if you're part of like fighting against injustice, you should have at least a basic knowledge of law, basic, and you should at least know that you need to face your accuser. You have the right to due process, and you can't go around calling a person a fraud because that's actually a Department of Justice issue, which I would have to be tried as a fraud and be found a fraud. That makes
You're cutting in and out, Fran. Fran, you're cutting in and out. I'm going to need you to make that comment again, but I got to be able to hear you clearly.
Okay. Is that better? Is that better? It is better because my phone's getting
Okay.
hot. What I said is Jay Moss has a moral obligation to prove me a fraud. And in doing so, he's made very vile memes of me and others, okay, in very degrading ways. So if you're using the terminology moral obligation, then shouldn't you have a moral compass that doesn't do things like that? That's
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Second, if you're a genuine advocate, shouldn't you have even basic law knowledge? Number one, that if you're going to call somebody a fraud, that's a Department of Justice issue. You need to make sure that you try me as a fraud and make sure that I'm guilty as a fraud, because that makes you a fraud for even going around publicly saying I'm one. It's called libel and slander. Okay, it's also, so the other thing is that um, if you don't have a common knowledge of law and you're doing this, then what kind of a fraud are you? Because the bottom line comes down to you're leaving out due process and my right to face my accuser. So that's just basic common law, basic, that he's not following. Well, he does this with the other people, and these people are all very much connected. They're all connected. I've talked about this before, okay? They're the same people, okay? Jim Mims, okay? And again, you need more of my story, and my book is very easy to read, and it's very inspiring, and I won, and I continue to win. I have a major federal lawsuit in the state of New York, okay? And I continue to win, other than one small part, which is not a big deal because I'm winning in the federal court above that, all right? But I was falsely arrested. I was clearly retaliated against. I have a database of 70 cases of families that the same judge and one other judge has endangered their children repeatedly. You tell me if it's retaliation or not. If 3 days after a report from the Judicial Committee comes back stating that the judge was okay, 3 days later he takes my child, claiming that I missed court. I have never missed court. I've been to court once or twice a month, rotating door for, at that time, close to 9 years. I had my 10th protection order in my favor at that point. This judge, finally, I got a protection order for me and my son, and in May of 2016, this judge removed my child from a protection order. That devastated me because I was allowed to be protected, but my child wasn't. And there's nothing
Whoa,
more
whoa, 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 whoa,
devastating
whoa,
to a
whoa, whoa,
mother
whoa,
or any
whoa, whoa, whoa.
parent.
Hold on, hold on. Did you say you had a protection order where a judge removed your child?
Okay, so what happened is I got a protection order.
Hold on, wait. You're breaking up. You're breaking up because we really got to hear this
because this is
we.
so good, and of course I'd be breaking up. Of course I'd be breaking up because this is so good. Hold on. Okay, is that
Yeah.
better? Is that better? All right, let me explain. The same judge that retaliated against me, okay, and I have ample evidence and
Okay.
proof of, the same judge took my child at 3 days. 3 days I lost custody without court, without a hearing. I had nothing. I had a federally protected, I still do. I have a federally protected, my son and I, and if you call the FBI, they'll tell you immediately. They know exactly what this is. Federally protected address in every state in the country. It's called the Address Confidentiality Program. I have it because I'm a victim of domestic violence, and so is my son. And I finally got a protection order for my child, too, for the first time ever. Okay? Why would you protect an adult and not a child?
Wait.
Our
I'm
courts are
lost.
doing this
I'm lost,
everywhere
and
now.
I think that people might be lost too. So, you had one protection order for you and one protection order from for your child for somebody else.
No. Nope. Let me explain. I've had one right after the other. Every time I have a protection order in place for me, okay, this is not just I walked in haphazardly and got an ex parte protection order for no reason and it's made up like they're doing all the time. This was genuine domestic violence with an arrest and the whole spiel, okay? I had every single time he would violate. The ink wouldn't even be dry on these things. He'd violate, okay? So, or it'd be at the end of that protection order breaking, and he'd violate again, and so there'd be another and another and another, and I'm an adult. And they never give one to my son. And I see this all the time across this whole country. They never give a protection order to a child, but only to an adult. That's a serious problem. That's something that there should be red flags all over that. Alarms should be going off. Why are adults being protected, but not children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So anybody that's been a victim of anything like this would understand clearly that there's a problem with that, and it's devastating to a parent that wants to protect their
Exactly.
children when children don't get protected. It's
Yeah.
devastating. So in May of 2016, like a month or so before, I got one for both my child and I because I spent several hours with a domestic violence specialist in another court, and that judge immediately granted it when she looked at the plethora of like this thick of evidence, and mine and my child's testimony, because they sat us both in the
Mm-hmm.
room to talk. It wasn't just me. Okay? It was like I finally felt heard. After 9 years, I finally felt heard. So that's why I do this, what I do, with the people
Mm-hmm.
giving a voice. I know what that is. So I finally felt heard. So I go to court now with this new judge, this McGinty, Anthony McGinty. Okay? And I had a previous judge, and she recused because what I did is I got a bunch of victims to go to the sheriff's department. That's who arrests your judges, by the way, the sheriffs. But they're not doing their job. So I went there, and we did one after the other supporting deposition against that judge. They didn't arrest her, but she recused from our
Mm-hmm.
cases. So now you're not supposed to have the same case heard twice. You're not supposed to have a new decision and a new judge over the same case. They're not supposed to do that, but they did it anyway. So they put me in before this other judge who I knew, mind you, I have publicly exposed this man repeatedly. I have publicly done videos on this man as National Coalition. I did a documentary film on this man, okay? I am a full-blown whistleblower, and I should not have ever been before this judge. It was complete and utter conflict of interest. Was not supposed to be on my case. Now I go to the court, this thick, already filed with the court, of all the evidence of the protection order stuff for me and my child. I had it filed with the court. It was a Monday morning. It was a Monday early court date, and that judge, I had no attorney. I went in by myself. I know how to talk, obviously, and he said, I'm removing your child from this protection order. I literally felt like my heart sank to my feet, and I just couldn't understand. It's like you finally felt like you could breathe, and then I felt like devastated. Fight and flight and all that triggers, and I was just like, Your Honor, I was like, I couldn't even get the words out. Why would you do that? I said, why would you take my son off this protection order? His exact words to me were, this is my court, and I'll do what I want. So first I felt kicked, and then I felt kicked harder. I was devastated. All right, so he made a whole new one. He made a whole new order for just me, and he took my son off of it. Now, I want you to know that one of the protection orders was because he physically hurt my shoulder and my left hip, holding my child, trying to protect him from him, and there were contusions on my child's legs. And I had police report and medical reports that matched the police report and the medical report from a hospital across the river that I went to, so I wouldn't be like in my own area, so they couldn't blame anything on anything. Okay, and I've had punches to my car. Everybody knows what that's like when you're a genuine victim. I'm not talking about these people that make up stuff about men or make up stuff about women, because I'm very much against that. So he removed my child from that, and I was just devastated. And then apparently, so in the meanwhile, I was working with the district attorney here in Ulster County, New York. And when I was working with him, I actually, because it was my victims, he took all that information. We did it electronically. I did it all through email. I did it with a law firm overseeing the whole thing. They gave me a paralegal. She didn't charge me one penny, and she oversaw everything from a law firm here that won a big case here. And she oversaw everything. So I have it. No, and I'm not going to sit here and just tell you the confidential cases and put them public. The only time I have the people's cases public is if the parent is on themselves giving their story. I don't do it. Okay, I do things with integrity
So
and
did
ethics.
that judge get you
So,
arrested?
uh, so what happened is we're still doing this case. We're still working on this case, right? And I filed all these families I'm talking about, and I've said this over and over, and my story will never change because the truth doesn't change. Cigarettes out in children, forensic sexual abuse to children, and always given to the abuser, or threatening the non-abuser that if you don't send the child anyway, you'll go to jail. Imagine being told that if you do the wrong thing as a human being, and you do what the CPS is supposed to be there for. Okay, the penal code in New York is 26010. There's one in every state. If you knowingly and willingly send a child into danger, you are held liable. Okay, it's a misdemeanor, and it could work its way up to a felony, right? Okay,
Except if
why
there's
is
a
it okay if
private
a
bill from
judge says it's
CPS.
okay?
Except if you're the private business CPS, then you're not held accountable. I think you froze a little bit, Frank.
I just got a call. I got a call. Why is it okay if a judge does it? So this is going to be actually my final thing because I really got to go. But so I find what happened is the report came back. I'm going to give it the short version, and I was.
Look like they kicked Fran off. I see where it says Fran is watching. So that means that she's no longer on the video, I don't think.
I wouldn't miss court. I wouldn't miss court. I never missed court. In 9 years, 10 years, I never missed court. I've always been to court, okay, no matter what the cost. And when he took my child off in May, and then he also knew, he always knew I traveled with my son. They always known I traveled with my son. I always knew I actually had a second place in West Virginia, but I always had my home here, okay? And I did that because it was close to my family and close to DC as well, where I advocate. And this judge knew it. It's in writing. It's in transcripts. I don't hide anything. It's in my book. The transcripts are in my book. The win is
The phone, we're breaking up a little bit again.
I keep getting calls. I'm sorry. I wrote the story as it happened verbatim. So it's all true. So the judge did that, and I left. And then shortly after, we were still collaborating the evidence, sending it to the Judicial Committee. I was appointed as the only person to actually talk to the Judicial Committee, not even the